If you planted tomatoes in the ground last year and you got maybe 20, maybe 30 tomatoes off a plant, I need you to watch the next 2 minutes. This plant is in a 15-gallon bucket. Same variety, same fertilizer, same water schedule. It produced 87 tomatoes last season. That's not an accident. That's soil science. And once you understand why it happens, you'll never go back to planting in the ground, at least not the way most people do it. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly why in-ground tomatoes underperform for most backyard gardeners in the US. I'll show you the container setup that consistently outproduces them, and I'll give you the specific numbers, soil mix ratios, container sizes, water schedule, so you can replicate this in your own yard this spring. Everything I'm sharing today is backed by research from the University of Florida IFAS and USDA Vegetable Production Studies, not opinions, data. Let's start with the problem. Here's what most backyard soil in America actually looks like below the surface. Compacted, poor drainage, and full of pathogens that have been building up for years every time you planted tomatoes in the same spot. Tomatoes need deep, loose, well-draining soil. Their roots want to go down 18 to 24 inches. In most backyard gardens, they hit compacted subsoil at 6 to 8 inches and stop. When roots can't spread, the plant can't feed itself properly, and it redirects energy away from fruit production. Then there's drainage. Tomatoes hate wet feet. A University of Florida IFAS study found that tomato plants experiencing waterlogging for even 24 hours show measurable yield reductions, up to 30% less fruit per plant compared to properly drained conditions. Most gardeners water, it rains, and the water sits. The plant is stressed. You don't see it immediately, but you see it at harvest. And then there's the nutrient problem. In native soil, nutrients are distributed unevenly. You might have adequate nitrogen in one spot and deficiency 2 feet away. The plant's roots are hunting. They're spending energy searching instead of producing fruit. This is the environment most American backyard tomatoes are growing in right now. In a container, you control everything, and that changes the math completely. You build the exact soil structure the plant needs. No compaction, no clay, no drainage problems. The root system expands to fill the entire container, which in a 15-gallon pot is roughly 24 inches deep and 16 inches wide. That root volume matters more than most people realize. A 2021 USDA Agricultural Research Service study on container-grown tomatoes found that plants with unrestricted root volume in well-draining media produced an average of 40 to 60% more fruit than in-ground plants in typical backyard soil conditions. 40 to 60% on the same variety with the same care. Containers also give you control you can't get in the ground. You can move them, you can adjust drainage. If a late frost is coming and in zone 6 that can happen well into May, you pick up the container and bring it in. You can't do that with an in-ground plant. And for a lot of us, there's a practical reality here. Bending down to tend an in-ground garden for an hour gets harder every year. A container on a patio table or on a simple stand at waist height is a completely different experience. Same food, a lot less strain on your back. Let me give you the exact setup. 3 components: container size, soil mix, and drainage. Container size is where most people get this wrong. A 5-gallon bucket is what you see everywhere online. It's not enough for a full-sized, indeterminate tomato. The roots fill it in 6 weeks, and then they're stuck. You get a stressed plant. For indeterminate varieties, that's your beefsteak, your Cherokee Purple, your Brandywine, you need a minimum of 15 gallons. That's roughly a 16-inch diameter container. For determinate varieties, Roma, Celebrity, Pacho tomatoes, 10 gallons works. They stop growing at a set size, so the root demand is lower. Don't use garden soil in containers. It compacts, it doesn't drain, it turns into concrete. Here's the mix I use, and it's based on the Cornell mix formula, developed by Cornell University's Extension Program, one of the most well-tested container media formulas in American horticulture. 60% potting mix, 30% perlite, that's what keeps it loose and draining, 10% aged compost for nutrients. That's it. 2 cubic feet fills a 15-gallon container. You can buy all 3 components at any garden center for under $20 total. One thing people skip is the perlite. Don't skip the perlite. Without it, the potting mix compacts over the season and drainage slows down. That's how you create the same waterlogging problem you were trying to escape. Make sure your container has drainage holes, at minimum 4 holes, a half-inch diameter each, and raise the container off the ground or off the patio surface. Even an inch of airspace underneath prevents the drainage holes from getting blocked and allows proper airflow. If you're on a wooden deck, put a saucer under it, but empty the saucer after heavy rain. You don't want the container sitting in standing water. Containers dry out faster than in-ground beds. That's the trade-off. In hot summer weather above 85 degrees Fahrenheit, which is most of the US from June through August, a 15-gallon container with a full-grown tomato plant needs water every day, sometimes twice a day. The check is simple. Stick your finger 2 inches into the soil. If it's dry at that depth, water. If it's still moist, wait. Water slowly and thoroughly. You want water running out the bottom of the container. That means the entire root zone got wet. A quick surface watering that doesn't reach the bottom does almost nothing. Container plants need more feeding than in-ground plants. Watering flushes nutrients out of the container over time. You need to replace them. Two-phase approach. At planting, work a slow-release granular fertilizer into the top 6 inches of your container mix. Follow the package rate, usually about 1 tablespoon per gallon of container volume. That feeds the plant for the first 4 to 6 weeks. Starting around week 5, once the plant is established and flowering, switch to a liquid tomato fertilizer every 10 to 14 days. Something with a higher middle number, that's phosphorus, which supports fruit development. A 4 to 18 to 38 ratio, or similar, works well. Don't overfeed. More fertilizer does not mean more tomatoes. Excess nitrogen, that's the first number, pushes the plant to make leaves instead of fruit. Stick to the schedule. Not every tomato works equally well in containers. Here's what actually performs based on yield trials. For the best results in a 15-gallon container, I'd start with Sun Gold or Juliet cherry tomatoes if this is your first season doing containers. They're indeterminate, they produce continuously from July through frost, and they're forgiving. A single Sun Gold plant in a 15-gallon container can produce 300 to 500 cherry tomatoes over a season. That's documented in multiple university extension trial reports. If you want a slicing tomato, Cherokee Purple is a reliable performer in containers. Rich flavor, good size, and the plant stays manageable. Here's what this comes down to. Planting tomatoes in the ground in typical American backyard soil is working against the plant. You're fighting compaction, drainage problems, and nutrient inconsistency every season. A 15-gallon container with the right soil mix removes all 3 of those problems. You're in control. The plant responds. The research supports it, the numbers support it, and the effort to set this up is 1 afternoon and about $20 in materials. If you want to go deeper on tomatoes this season, the next video covers exactly why your transplants die in the first week after you put them in the ground or in a container, and the 10-minute fix that saves almost all of them. That's the one to watch next. If this was useful, subscribe. New videos every few days, always practical, always backed by real research. I'll see you in the next one.